Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Coach Cody podcast. So we're going to skip through the studies today and go right into story time. So a little bit of a funny story for you this week. Des and I, my girlfriend, were supposed to go on a trip to San Francisco to see our favorite band, or one of our favorite bands. And it's something we've been looking forward to for a while. And it's been a crazy year. I'll go into that in more detail at some other point. It's a long story, but it's been one of the hardest years of probably both our lives. Definitely mine. And, we had this opportunity to finally do something fun. And so we decided to act on it. Anyways, I also have anxiety and OCD. And that's one of the biggest, I feel like my part-time job right now is working on OCD and being in therapy for OCD, ERP therapy specifically. And I do have a lot of, anxieties, OCD related around traveling. So not only was it's supposed to be a little bit of an exposure. So not all fun and games, but it was supposed to be fun. And something that, we at least knew once we got to the venue and got to listen to our band, it was going to be okay. At least that's what we thought. So to start things off, the trip starts off a little rocky. We had to take the dogs with us. It's hard to find someone to watch. Mainly my medium to small size dog. She's a mix between, we're not really sure. So it's like Chihuahua, Jack Russell, who knows, pit bull. I'm not really entirely sure. And she's incredibly loyal to me, maybe too much so. And she's very territorial. So having someone else watch her isn't always doable. And we had to take the dogs with us. We found a pet-friendly hotel. And all the way down there, my small little dog, Toby, he decided to whine the whole time, like tea kettle status whining. And there's nothing like, something testing your sensory overload situation more than a tea kettle just constantly going off, if you can picture that. And, tried my best to console him. He was okay once I had him in my lap, but he didn't want to settle down. And he was just like basically scratching the shit out of my legs because I was wearing shorts. And we couldn't get to San Francisco quick enough. And we finally got there. And the first issue was trying to figure out where to park. We were circling around this hotel. Like, where is there parking? San Francisco is nuts. If you've never been there, oof, I don't even know how to explain it. But it's almost like pure chaos on the streets, pedestrians, along with, making sure you're not going down the wrong way, making sure, it's like, are you even in a lane? Are you in the bus lane? It's just confusing. I refuse to drive there. OCD, hello, anxiety. So Des is a champ, and she doesn't have as much anxiety surrounding that. But even through that, she was getting a bit flustered, but she was also overstimulated by our tea kettle puppy. And we finally had to call the hotel, and they were like, "Oh, we just have valet." So we're like, cool, fuck it. We are going with that because it costs about the same amount to park somewhere as it did to do the valet there, which is $75. Ooh, all the fees that just continuously add up when you travel to a city. So we finally get to the hotel. We hand off the car to the valet, which didn't happen to be the valet. No, I'm just kidding. Luckily, we handed it off to the right person. And there's just something about San Francisco. The moment you step outside, it is just, there was people doing whippets on the corner. There was, I don't know why it keeps doing, okay. And then there was, I'm pretty sure I saw people just shooting up right on the street. And it's just a whole new world, I guess you could say, once you're in the city. And even this was supposed, kind of like a nicer part. I don't know if those exist anymore in San Francisco. But anyways, we found our way to the hotel. And another thing is they also charge you like a $75 pet fee, even if it's just one night, which is fun. But anyways, it was a pet-friendly hotel. It was a nice hotel. That was the pleasant part. The rooms were clean. I had already been having some, stomach issues, and there's something about anxiety that just tells you, I don't know what it is, from 0 to 100, like you could be totally fine, and your biggest fear could be you're probably going to shit your pants. So having that be a huge fear, especially in a city where bathrooms are not easy to come by, let me just say, especially like clean ones, but in general, they don't like to let you use the bathrooms. But luckily, we got to the hotel room. I didn't have to shit my pants or use a public restroom. And we were kind of feeling like we finally made it to home base. And the dogs were happy. Carly especially loves being in new places. She also loves car rides. She was such a sweet little angel next to her brother, who was just this tea kettle. Anyways, so got to the hotel. The dogs settled in. We settled in as much as we could. There's something about hotel rooms sometimes where I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know where to sit. I don't really want to lay on the bed. And I know that, I had to kind of start getting ready soon, take a shower and for our show. And we decided to order Chipotle. And there's a million places in San Francisco to eat. But when you have anxiety and you're afraid to shit your pants, generally you want to stick to something familiar, even if that familiar food has potentially in the past caused you to shit your pants. Just kidding. I've not shit my pants over Chipotle, but I'm sure there has been people that have. But we decided to DoorDash Chipotle. It's quick. We don't have a whole lot of time before we get ready for the show. And we get our food, and the guac is brown. And yeah, the Chipotle chips were not even real Chipotle chips. I can tell a Chipotle chip when I see one. They're like white corn. They're nice and kind of fluffy, warm, salty. These were like yellow corn. They were thick. They're the kinds that you buy at the store in like those really big bags. And so that was not great. Another thing, just okay, we're not eating our chips in guac. It is brown, and these chips are questionable. The rest of the meal was also questionable. So I didn't eat a whole lot from there. But I started getting ready, and I did give permission, or I got permission from my ERB therapist to use, emergency medications. That being something like Ativan or Xanax. So Ativan is what I have been prescribed, which, by the way, I have never been prescribed it in my life before, and I've had anxiety pretty severely my whole life, and the only way I was able to get it prescribed to me is because my therapist talked to my psychiatrist, basically to be like, look, he really needs it. So shout out to my therapist. Thanks for helping me out there. But anyways, so I decided to take like half of my rescue drug, and still wasn't enough. So I took the other half, and as we were like, we were concerned about the dogs barking because they're usually very quiet. As you can tell right now, they're here. You wouldn't even know, right? But the moment that they hear something, they think it's at the door or whatever, they will start barking. We've taken them on trips before. We've taken them to Santa Cruz multiple times. They've been completely fine. Even if we, went to eat or were walking around for a bit in the hotel room, as long as they had, their bed and they were able to chill just like where they are at home, they were completely fine. But the city is a whole different story. It's a lot louder, lots of more noises going around, a lot more people coming in and out of, the hallways and stuff like that. So they would bark, if someone walked by, or maybe we heard someone, if we needed something and someone knocked or something along those lines. So I started getting nervous, not only that they were going to bark, but sometimes they do this thing where when we leave abruptly, they howl. And they'll do that even if I'm at home. They'll do the whole howling situation. But just made sure when we were leaving not to leave abruptly. I said goodbye to them, like I patted them on the head so they made sure that we were leaving. And it might be a while just to signal, hey, don't howl. Nothing is weird. Nothing's wrong. We will be back. And so we step out the door. kind of listened in the hallway for a bit to see if they would howl or anything like that, and they didn't. So then we made our way to the elevator. And let me just say, OCD has this way, they call it the doubting disease, and then there's also like all the what ifs that OCD likes to play. And of course, one of the biggest what ifs is, what if the dogs don't shut up and they just bark and we get complaints, or the hotel calls us or makes us leave, that sort of thing. And so it was just kind of this, well, they're okay right now. Worst case scenario, what you have to do with OCD is you basically have to just accept that it could happen and then be okay with your ability to handle it when it does. So I tried to kind of push it to the side and be like, well, whatever happens, happens. We're going to go to this concert. We're going to do our best to enjoy ourselves. And so another thing that happened is that we had VIP tickets. There's the VIP meet and greet and all that got canceled. So they downgraded our tickets from VIP 1 to VIP 2. But VIP 2 is basically just early entry. And by early entry, I mean 15 minutes, hardly anything. And we got into the venue. We also thought it meant we could go up to the balcony and score some balcony seats because we're old. I don't know about you, but I do not enjoy being at the front anymore when people are pressing up against you and you kind of can't get out. I'm not here for it anymore. I have done it before, especially for a Paramore show, and I will never do it again. I feel like once you just get past 30, all of your claustrophobia just starts really just closing in on you. So we tried to make our way up to the balcony. At first they said we had to wait until 7 o'clock before we go up to the balcony, and so we're like, all right. So we just kind of walked around, and there was not really anyone in there. It was just the VIP people. And I forgot to mention, they did give us $100 back for the VIP 2 downgrade, but come to find, that was complete bullshit, because we paid an extra $100 to get in 15 minutes early, and we were not allowed to sit in the balcony seat because we would have had to purchase balcony seating. However, when I purchased the tickets, there was no option for balcony seating purchases. If there was, I would have done that from the start, because as much as I would love to non-awkwardly meet a band that I enjoy, I'm just going to be awkward, and it was going to make me more anxious. So when they canceled it, I was actually kind of more relieved. I never know what to do with my hands. Taking photos with strangers is very strange. And so I was just kind of like, cool, we get to skip that part. Now we just get in early, get great balcony seats, settle in, and enjoy the show. So Des had to work some of her magic, talk to the manager, and go do some back and forth, and was able to score us some seats up in the balcony because they agreed it wasn't fair that we paid $100 more than general admission, because we were just going to have the same standing room seats for $150 when the rest of the people only paid $50. And even after the doors opened to the public, there was plenty of room everywhere. There was maybe 10 people in there at a time. So they had just as much ability to get great seating as we did, even though we paid exponentially more. So Des, being her, sweet Southern Belle self, was able to get us seats up in the balcony, and that kind of made up for it. But it wasn't for very long. We got through the opening act, and then we got about 3 songs into the band Wild Rivers that we were about to see. Or band Wild Rivers, that is our favorite band that we were waiting to see. And third song hit. I happened to, I was recording and I had my phone, and I got this email from the hotel telling us that, they had some complaints about our dogs barking, and that either basically they said quiet time starts at 10. And if you're not here by 10 to, accompany your dogs, we are going to physically remove them from the room and then keep them in the office until you get home. And I'm thinking, this is not going to end well for them or me if they go in my room, because my little small dog, she's very territorial and she will bite their ankles. So I didn't want to have to deal with not only complaints of barking, but also complaints of someone getting their ankle bit. So we left immediately and rushed over because we were terrified they were going to enter our hotel room and just leave the ankles wide open for Carly to gnaw on. And yeah, we essentially missed the whole damn show. We were so over it that, we just, anyways, we missed the show. That's the thing. And it just is on brand for this year. You know how you just have those years and nothing seems to go right. And at the end of the day, I think the thing that came out of it is that although basically all the OCD fears came true, except for shitting my pants, I didn't shit my pants, although I was tempted to hit up Taco Bell just to kind of check that one off the box as well. But we survived. We did handle the situation at hand. We were capable of handling it. It was not ideal, and we missed out on our favorite band. But we're hoping that there will be more opportunities in the future. And at the end of the day, we ended up kind of laughing about it all, just because we were just like, this would happen to us. And so it was basically just a really quick trip to San Francisco for us to just essentially drive back. And it hopefully next time it'll be a better experience. But anyways, moral of the story, sometimes shit goes horribly wrong, but if you have someone that is just in it with you and can laugh with you, then you know what, it still makes it worth it. And Des and I didn't quite make the memories we were thinking we were going to make, but this will definitely be a night that we didn't forget. We felt like we were in this kind of modern day Seinfeld episode where just one thing after another kept happening. There's a little bit more to the story involving the ride home, but unless you're in my inner circle, we'll save that one for later. So if you know us personally, reach out, we'll tell you, but we won't put that one on the internet. I didn't shit my pants though still, so that's still a thing. So I will move on from that awful story to what the actual topic is, and that is managing fitness with a busy lifestyle. And time constraints are one of the biggest things that we struggle with when it comes to nutrition and fitness. And well, how do you manage your fitness and your life when you have limited time? So when it comes to, I want to first differentiate. There's, lifestyle, health goals, and then there's bodybuilding goals. And the difference is, with bodybuilding, you're basically trying to figure out how to fit life into your bodybuilding lifestyle. It's more serious. It's a sport. If you're competitive with bodybuilding, basically it's flip-flops. You're trying to balance your life with a little bit of fun things and family things here and there. But ultimately, your priority is your bodybuilding, making sure you're hitting the gym, making sure you're staying on track with your nutrition, because that is your priority. When it comes to lifestyle stuff, maybe you're just trying to lose some weight, improve your health, or stay healthy, then you want to try to fit your fitness and nutrition into your life. So how do you do that? Well, just like anything else, time being the biggest constraint, you kind of have to schedule shit in. So if you spend a day, maybe Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, every Sunday evening, kind of mapping out your week and blocking off time to go to the gym, kind of like scheduling it as if it's an appointment, a doctor's appointment, therapy appointment, etc., that you can't miss and, that you've already committed to. So that commitment piece is huge. That's where everything falls to shit. If you don't make that commitment, or you're kind of loosey-goosey with it and you're thinking, it's only impacting me, I can bail, it won't matter. 9 times out of 10, you're going to bail if you're already thinking that. So make sure you make it this appointment with meaning. So what does it mean? if you skip the gym and it's only impacting yourself? Well, health matters, and you can't just put your health on the back end. If you're not healthy, you can't work. If you're not healthy, you can't be taking care of your family or even participating in life as you would like. So you have to remember that even if bodybuilding isn't your priority, you do have to prioritize your health. And what is the thing that's going to keep you healthy? Making sure to get some movement in, getting into the gym, eating healthy. Other ways to do it. So if you need to block off some time for nutrition as well, it's basically just getting into a good routine that you know works best for you. And again, making that commitment and not bargaining with yourself and flaking. Another good way to manage this is to get a workout buddy. It's a lot harder to flake on someone else. When it's just you, it's easier to bail, no doubt. But if you know someone's going to meet you there, or they're depending on you to get their asses there, chances are you are going to show up much more. So another thing you can do is making sure, so you don't have to work out every single day for multiple hours a day. And you have to make sure that your goals and your fitness routine are in line with your actual life. So if you want six-pack abs, you have to know what that's going to entail. If you're not willing to do, or you can't do what it takes to get six-pack abs due to time constraints, it's not best to be making that goal. You're only gonna end up frustrated and defeated, and that's not what you want, because health is, the priority here, right? So the option of doing nothing is not an option. So be realistic. What are some goals that you can realistically achieve and fit into your life? So if you're super busy, even just working out 3 days a week, maybe 3 full body day workouts a week, is going to be a lot more manageable, and you're still going to make progress. So don't be afraid to make it more minimal. You don't have to strive to be a bodybuilder if you do not want to be a bodybuilder. It might take a little bit more time if you're going less frequent to the gym, but at the same time, what is the rush exactly? So patience is also going to be key in a situation. I think a lot of the times we think that we can't do things due to time constraints because we think that there's only one way to do it. And you can only see progress if you spend 7 days a week in the gym, multiple hours a day, or you can only see progress if you eat absolutely perfectly. And although nutrition is really important, there's a little wiggle room. I would say 80-20, like 80% of the time, make sure you're eating whole nutrient-dense foods, balanced meals. 20% of the time, have some treats. Go out to dinner with your friends and family and enjoy it. And you're still going to see progress that way. So, like I said, building a routine is going to be your best friend. So it could take some practice, right? Figuring out what routine works best for you, some trial and error. Just because something doesn't work for you the first week doesn't mean you can't adjust. So there's some flexibility that needs to be needed there. Schedule things in how you think might work best. If it doesn't work, regroup the next week, see what did work, see what didn't work, and then make some changes. So that's basically like the biggest secret to making health and fitness fit in your life, is just scheduling it into things already and trying to be a little more organized, making sure that you have a routine that works for you, and making sure that your goals are aligned with what you're ready, willing, and able to do. And, same thing comes with nutrition. You have to set time aside to work out and get some movement in. So what are some ways you can set time aside to meal prep, create a menu? And we don't want to spend time, doing meal prep on our days off when we'd rather be relaxing or etc. But the time's going to come back because it's going to save you time during the week, where it's also going to save you decision fatigue. So if during the week you're not prepared, you don't have food ready, there's all these decisions you have to make, and it's exhausting. Whereas if you, spent a few hours on Sunday prepping out your food, you already know that you have food ready to go for you. There's no question of what you're going to eat, and there's no opportunity to make not so great decisions. So ultimately, structure is key to fitting fitness and health, or fitness and nutrition, into a busy lifestyle. If you're a bodybuilder, and you're basically trying to fit life into your bodybuilding lifestyle. It's almost like you can apply the 80-20 rule to your life, kind of like how you would with nutrition. Be on track as much as you can throughout the week. Maybe have one day where you go out with friends. Weekends tend to be hardest for both bodybuilders and, lifestyle, because there's more social obligations, or just, there's less. If you don't prep your food for the weekends, there's a lot more decisions to be made. And that's where fuck it mode happens a lot more, because you're just like, oh, I didn't really prep any food for the weekend. And then you end up eating out for all the meals. And you don't know what you ate exactly. And then you kind of go into fuck it mode. And then if you do that every weekend, chances are you're not going to see the results that you want. So one way, so along with routine and, building structure, accountability is also going to go a long way, whether that's a coach or your family, your immediate family in your house. Having that talk with them, telling them your schedule, getting them on board with you is going to be really helpful, because maybe there comes a time where you decide you want to skip the gym, but then your spouse is like, hey, aren't you supposed to be at the gym right now? So there's like a little bit of accountability. Hopefully they're supportive and on board with you. If they're not, they could take a little bit more conversation to get them on board. But I think ultimately, if it's about your health and it's something that is very important I always want my partner to be healthy. So if you present it in, being around to take care of life, kids, etc., be around for a long time so you can be together. Ultimately, they should be on board because they want to support your health as well. So, I think that's about it. It just comes down to scheduling things in and making sure that, you don't feel like you have to go balls to the wall, go hard, like 7 days a week in the gym. You can go 3 days a week. That's fine. You can set a step goal per day. Anywhere between like 7 to 10K is where you're going to see the most benefits with step goals, which is why I like to assign step goals versus designated cardio. So 10K steps can feel like a lot, especially if you work a desk job, and it could be, time consuming, and unless you're taking a few walks around the block every few hours or so, it really adds up. And it encourages you to move more throughout the day instead of thinking like, oh shit, I have an hour of cardio to do after my workout, and that extends your workout even longer. So there are little things that you can do in order to kind of make things more efficient, but also just remember you don't have to be perfect. It's much better to, do what you can versus doing nothing at all, especially pertaining to your health. All right. So that about wraps it up for here. But, I did also want to say there are some apps that you can use to help like manage your time a little bit better. Or if you're someone who struggles with, being on your phone and wasting time scrolling, there are some apps that like block things like Instagram, Threads, Twitter, whatever, for a certain amount of time so that you can get shit done. So maybe in order to create more time, you can put those app blocker things on and be more efficient with your work. So then you don't have to be so stressed and strapped on time, and you can spend more time to invest in your health. All right. So that is it for now. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them down below on YouTube or Spotify. Or, if you have any awful trip stories that you would like to share with me, I would love to hear them. And hopefully the next trip that we take will be much more restful and give us the recharge that we were looking for. I'm ready for 2024 to be over. This has been a transformative year, but not in the way I was expecting, for sure. So if you're ready for 2024 to be over, say I'm ready for 2024 to be over in the comments. And peace out, guys. Talk to you next time.